What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to The Order. Venom has arrived in Marvel's Midnight Suns with the launch of the game's second DLC release, Redemption. Huge kudos to Firaxis Games. In just over 2 months since the game's launch, we've already had 2 new DLC updates to dive into and 2 new characters to battle with. Definitely did not see getting this new content so soon. In this video, I want to take a quick look at what Venom brings to the Midnight Suns roster and my initial impressions of the character and his deck, and whether or not he figures to be a worthy addition to the team. If you're new to the channel or recently picked up the game, be sure to subscribe for more Midnight Suns coverage and insight. I've got videos covering a wide variety of topics from character rankings to the best cards in the game, New Game Plus, and more. Welcome to The Order, and if you're a returning viewer, hey, it's good to see you again. Now, I won't talk too much about the story here, as it's worth experiencing for yourself. There's a bit more emotional depth in Redemption than we got in Deadpool's The Good, the Bad, and the Undead, which is to be expected given Venom's arc within the game. I will say that this DLC does continue some of the vampire narrative featured in that first DLC, with Spider-Man swapping in for Blade as the co-lead here, so it's definitely worth checking out both updates. However, this update doesn't appear to add any new enemies or any new mission types. Now, in order to get started with the Venom DLC, you'll need to have completed the entire Fallen Venom story arc, including the Bell Tolls mission in Act 1. You should then have a story mission waiting for you in the New York end of the mission table to kickstart the Redemption DLC content. Now, apart from the story missions in Venom itself, there are a few new things that appear to have been added to the game. In combat missions, when you hover over an enemy with an ability card now, you can see exactly how much health that enemy will have left, highlighted in red. The game also feels a bit smoother in certain instances with fewer frame drops. A new mission table upgrade, Whisper Web, is available after acquiring Venom. Completing missions with the character will allow you to acquire this new addition to the Abbey, and after upgrading to level 2 through completing 2 separate research projects, it will allow you to modify the difficulty, featured character, or rewards for any general mission on the world table in exchange for intel. Pretty cool. Now, let's talk about the main attraction, and that's Venom. Scrolling over to the character's profile page gives you some quick insight into what he offers to the roster. Single target damage and strong initial turn damage. I'll be honest and say it's a bit disappointing that we're starting off this season pass of new characters with back-to-back pure damage dealers. I would have preferred to see some more utility and support brought to the roster, but here's hoping we get that with Storm and or Morbius. Venom's core mechanic, Ravenous, works sort of like an inverse of Captain Marvel's binary, in that he starts the mission with a full stack of it. A full bar of Ravenous buffs Venom's damage output by 50%. Using an attack or heroic card consumes a stack of Ravenous, splitting the bonuses down to 33% and 16% after each use. Both using and maintaining Ravenous is the key to maximizing Venom's damage potential. Venom's passive ability, We Are Venom, gives you a 25% chance for an attack to not consume Ravenous, while his level 2 passive allows your first attack to not cost you a Ravenous stack. Now, as far as the standout abilities in his deck, Venom's got a couple of intriguing cards right out of the gate. Web Toss is a common attack card that offers you forceful knockback in any direction, very similar to Ghost Rider's Lash ability. The big difference is being that Web Toss does not have quick on upgrade, it's available as a mod, but he doesn't take damage on use the way that Robbie does. Venom's common heroic card, Tasty Brains, does 250% of his offense with lifesteal, with the added effect of allowing your next Venom attack to not consume Ravenous. Pretty solid stuff. Now, preserving those Ravenous stacks is a must, which leads us to arguably Venom's most essential ability, Insatiable Hunger. This free epic skill card not only gives you a stack of Ravenous, but also gives you an additional stack on the next turn, and it comes free on upgrade, allowing you to use that mod slot to add an additional dose of utility, whether that be drawing cards or adding heroism. Symbiotic Senses also plays into this Ravenous preservation tactic, allowing your next 2 abilities on upgrade to not consume Ravenous. Tendril Strike is Venom's dedicated quick card, 50% of his offense chained to simple stuff. Spike Burst offers Venom some decent AoE output at 150% of his offense and comes with the very small percentage chance of binding everything it hits. His other multi-target ability, Devouring Strike, feels less useful, allowing you to chain 4 targets but with a low damage output and a steeper heroism cost. And naturally, Venom does have a dedicated bind card, Symbiote Bind, that allows you to funnel even more Venom cards into your hand by attacking that bound character. With all that being said, how does Venom stack up overall? Well, my initial impressions are, he's fine. Yeah, like, he's fine. That's the best way I can articulate it. When I ultimately redo my character rankings after all the Season Pass characters have dropped, I feel confident early on in saying Venom feels like he's going to slot somewhere in the middle ends of the list. I do think his overall deck synergizes better than Deadpool's, whose whole Infuego mechanic just never really gelled for me. Building around Insatiable Hunger allows Venom to do some consistent solid damage with room for modding his abilities to really expand what he can bring to a team. Now, this might be me thinking out loud, but I do feel like Spike Burst's bind rate is entirely too low at 10% and has missed potential as a more reliable, albeit potentially overpowered, crowd control ability. And I feel nitpicky in saying this, but Ravenous feels a bit too similar in concept to other character passives currently in the game. Between this, Hulk's Rage, Carol's Binary, Deadpool's Infuego, we've got a handful of characters whose whole mechanic just revolves around buffing their damage by a percentile. I'm really hoping we'll see some more creative concepts with future characters that truly makes their mechanics stand out more. If you've picked up the Redemption DLC, let me know in the comments below your impressions of Venom and the story missions. Are you liking the direction the game is going in, and is Venom a worthwhile addition to the roster? If you enjoyed this video and found it insightful at all, be sure to hit it with a like and subscribe to the channel for more Midnight Suns coverage and insight. Until next time, have a good one.